Hello everyone and welcome to OGSpot. In today's video I'm gonna showcase you another hybrid character, or more specifically the Amazon. So this one is quite interesting actually. I've been able to create this quite amazing run word called Call to Arms. If you happen to see my previous video, you see me making it. And basically this one actually gave me the idea for the character build, because if you take a look at the options it provides, they're quite good for a weapon, as it gives 40% to increase attack speed, which is really good, and the amount of enhanced damage, 281%, is amazing as well. We also got 7% of life stolen per hit, which is really helpful, and a 30% chance of getting magic items are not bad as well. And the base itself, it came as superior, and it has 3 bow and crossbow skills on it, and it also gives 1 to all skills from the run word, so in total we got 4 to bow and crossbow skills on this weapon. Actually the main build is more focused around the javelin spec instead of the bow, and let's start with the stats distribution. So you put enough strength points just to equip your gear. You don't actually need a lot of strength points because they don't really increase your damage. The Amazon benefits from dexterity as damage boosts, but you don't really have to put a lot of dexterity either. You mainly want to focus on achieving the maximum block amount, or 75%. And when you did that, you actually have to start putting everything else into vitality. You don't really put anything into energy at all. So that's about the stats distribution. Let's go over the skill tree. So as I've already said, the build is more focused around the javelin spec, and mainly we'll be using charge strike as the melee skill, and the lightning fury as the throwing attack. It's quite a good skill actually, both of them are really good. I could even say they're overpowered. So what you do in this situation, you put 1 skill point into jab just to unlock the rest of the skills. Then you put, me personally, I put 20 points into lightning strike, 20 points into charge strike, 20 points into lightning fury, and 1 point into black javelin, 1 point into lightning bolt, and 1 point into poison javelin. The rest of my skills I've been putting into power strike to try to increase my lightning damage. As you can probably imagine, this character being a hybrid build, neither the javelin part of it or the bow part of it are as strong as the Amazon build specifically for javelin or bow, but the character comes quite good and I'm really happy how it turned out. It's quite strong, and let's go over the passive and magic skills. So all of these you can see here, just the one hit wonders, and all you have to do is just to put 1 skill point into each one of these just to unlock them, and the rest of the skill points, they'll be just coming from your gear. And you actually don't have to put a lot of skill points into these, as they really have a lot of diminishing returns. Let's say you probably go above 10 skills or so, and they start giving you like 1 or 2%, if that at all. So the critical strike, you can actually skip the rest of these and go only with critical strike. That way you can save some points and put them into javelin and spear skills to increase your damage. But me personally, I like to have these because they're making the character way more viable, and the survivability is really good with these. So if you take a look at the dodge, this is a passive skill, and it gives a chance to dodge a melee attack when you are attacking or standing still. Currently it gives 44%, which is really good. When I buff with CTA it goes to 46, which is quite close to 50. And the other skill is avoid. So that's another passive skill. You have a chance to dodge enemy missiles when attacking or standing still. This one is 54% when I buff with CTA. That's really good. The other skill is Penetrate. This passively increases your attack rating. It's quite helpful. Evade. This one is really good. So you have a chance to dodge a melee or missile attack when walking or running. There is a high chance as well. I really like this skill because basically when you're actually running, your defense is, let's say, 0. The only way you have full defense on your character is when you're actually fighting, or if you're not walking but running. That's why when you do a PvP, you many times see a lot of the characters walking instead of running, because that way they'll have their full defense, and when you're actually running, your defense goes to 0. So this skill is really good. I really like to have it. Then we got Pierce. This is a awesome skill as well. It gives 69% chance for your missiles attack to pierce through the enemies and continue to attack further. This is really good. And let's go over the bow and crossbow skills. So each one of these here, you see, are just 1 point into them, and I've put 20 points into guided arrow. You don't really have to unlock strafe, that's more of a personal thing. I just like the skill, it's quite helpful in certain situations, so I just decided to spend 1 extra point to have it. And that's about the skill points. So let's go over the item parts. I've decided to make this character a little bit more achievable for the majority of the players, as it's way cheaper than the previous character I've showcased. So for this one I've decided to go with the Orphan Skull set. This set is pretty good and really easy to get. So the notorious G-Phase helm, it's pretty much amazing helm. It gives 30% to faster hit recovery, 35% chance of crushing blow, 15% deadly strike. It gives 15 strength, which is a really nice bonus. And I've socked that with all resistance Joe to help my resistances. The other part of the set is the shield. This shield is really good as well. And the chance to block on it, 75% is pretty solid. So this one gives 40% extra block rate, 55% increased chance of blocking, and I've socked that one with a 7 FHR and all resistance 15 duo. The gloves, they're not too good but not too bad either. They're giving 20% increased attack speed, 100 to attack rating, which actually scales with the character pretty good, and a little bit of fire resistance as well. The belt, I'd say, is the weakest point of the set, but it can be beneficial depending on the rest of your gear, because it provides mana and life leech and some cold resistance. And when you combine the whole set, you unlock the bonus. It gives 100 defense, 20 to strength, 10 dexterity, 85 to life, which is a good chunk of life. All resistance is 15, and 80% chance of getting magic items, which is really good as we're trying to get better loot by every run we're doing. And let's go over the amulet. So for this build I've decided to use High Lord's Wrath, as this amulet is pretty good. It gives 1 to all skills, 20% increase to attack speed, a little bit of lightning damage, and the main reason I'm using it actually is the 33% deadly strike. This is based on character level, so the higher your character gets, this percent only rises, so the better it gets with your level. And the ring, the must-have one, is a Raven Frost in this situation. This one is a perfect one, 250 attack rating and 22 dexterity. It also gives a little bit of cold damage, and the 22 dexterity is really good because it helps you to achieve the 75% chance to block quite easier. 42 mana is really helpful because this character is mana hungry. The cold absorb is good for the survivability, and cannot be frozen. You really need that, because if you're frozen, your DPS basically declines a lot. And the other ring I've been using is just a simple mana leech ring with a little bit of extra stats on it and some resistances. The attack rating is quite good on it. And the boots I've decided to use are the Go Rider. You mainly see these boots on melee builds, but in this situation I've decided to use them as we're a hybrid character. We also utilizing the javelins, not only the bow. And let me tell you something about the bow and the crushing blow percentage. There's a little bit of penalty. It's not actually little, it's a 50% penalty of the crushing blow when you're using bow. So let's say you have 50% chance of crushing blow. When you're using bow on your character, it actually is 25, so it's half of what it is. And that's why I've been trying to stack as much of crushing blow, deadly strike, critical strike, and all of these as I can. And it turns out quite effectively, actually. I'm not surprised, but I've been expecting it. It's really good. And also the 10% chance of open wounds is amazing against bosses, because it prevents them from healing. Sometimes you're facing unique enemies which can be immune to lightning, and this can help you, this chance of open wounds. It also drains the life of the enemies quite quickly, so it's good to have. And the javelin I'm using, it's a rare javelin. You might see it in the previous video when I've upgraded it. The reason I'm using this one over the Titans or the Thunderstroke, for example, is simply because of the 40% increased attack speed. That's absolutely massive. They also provide 2 to javelin and spear skills like the Titans, so they're pretty much lacking the 2 to Amazon skills and the dexterity and strength bonuses, but the damage on these is actually higher than the Titans. And when you think about it, the 40% increased attack speed, the damage output with these javelins compared to the Titans is massive. These are way better. And the only downside to them, I'd say, is that they're not replenishing their quantity. So every once in a while you just have to open a town portal and get back to town to repair them, to replenish the quantity. And the armor I've decided to use is the Chains of Honor. This is an amazing item. It's a run ward. That's not too difficult to make, actually. There's just one high run in it. It gives 2 to all skills. 200% damage to demons is massive. 100% damage to undead is a considerable amount as well. 8% of life stolen per hit. This is really good. As you've probably seen, we're having a lot of life and mana leech stacked on the character. 20 to strength bonus is really helpful. Replenish life 7, and the massive fall resistance is 65 bonus. It also comes with the damage reduced by 8%, and the 25% extra chance of getting magic items, actually stacking with the 80% from the set, so we have 105% in total, which is nothing amazing, but not too bad either. It's better to have some when you're doing runs. And I'd say the most expensive part of this whole character is the inventory I've been having. I have all these life skillers, and I got a crappy Annihilus and a crappy Torch. They're both pretty low. And the small charms I got quite trash as well. As I said, this character is easy to make, easy to achieve. All the items are nothing special, so it's quite easy to make. And there's also a lot of room for improvements. You can get much better gear than that. And let's talk about the helm choice. For example, you can go with the what was it? Giant Skull? Yeah, it was Giant Skull. And you can sock that with 15% increase attack speed and 40% enhanced damage duos, and that'll be totally amazing. That'll be much better than the G-Face. You can also use Sandario's Visage socked with the same jewel. That would be also better than the G-Phase. For armor, you can probably use Fortitude as an alternative, but I'd rather not to, because in my eyes Chains of Honor is actually the better choice. For belt, you want to probably use Thunder God's Vigor, because that's the ultimate belt for Javelin build. And you might consider Verdungos as well, or the other alternative I'd say is the Nosferatu's Coil. That's a really good belt as well. The boots, you don't want to change these. These are must-have. They're the best in slot. The only way of upgrading is to have them on a higher roll or perfect and upgrade it. The rings, you can get a much better ring than that, probably a crafted or much better rare ring. And the Raven Frost is a must-have, so it stays as it is. The gloves, ideally you want to have a crafted or rare ones with 2 Javelin, 20 IS and stats and resistances. If they're crafted, you can get a crushing blow on them. That'll be totally amazing. So there's some gear in my stash which I like to swap to, depends on the situation. And when I'm doing PvP or if I'm doing just cows runs, for example. So when I'm doing PvP, I like to switch to Blood Fists and Sandstorm, because that way I got my whole faster hit recovery stack and I'm actually achieving the needed frames to be able to do PvP without getting stun locked. I'm also switching to my Thunder's God Vigor belt and my Storm Shield, and that way when you combine the damage reduction 35% from the Storm Shield and the 8% from the Chains of Honor, we got 43% damage reduction, and the maximum you can actually have is 50, so we're extremely close to that. And this setup is quite good. Sometimes you might want to switch the amulet to the Cat's Eye, depends if you need to run faster or not. This also comes true for the Titans. You might want to equip them if you need to run quicker, depends on the enemy you're facing. And I also like to pre-buff with the Demon Limp, so I'm gonna make an example of the character, how easily it kills and it clears content. So let's get back to the normal setup. Sometimes you might also want to put Laying of Hands in use, because these are amazing gloves. The 350% damage to demons is amazing, and that also stacks with the Chains of Honor pretty good. So let's start with the Demon Limb. As a pre-buff, you just cast the enchant. That gives 100 fire damage and amazing bonus to attack rating. Then we switch back to our javelins. So you probably noticed I'm not using Valkyrie at all, simply because I don't need it. Let's go and do some cow run. So, after Demon Limb, we just buff with CTA. And when I do cow runs, I just like to gather them in a massive group. That way you clear them all at once. And it's pretty good. Come on, cow. So yeah, we got a nice big group. And now, we just go some javelins. You see all the cows melting. Here just and that's about it, pretty much. They don't like to cow. Have to switch to the bow. You have to be a bit more careful when you're using the bow, because you don't have the shield,
I
and
can't
the
carry anymore.
chance to block is not applicable in this situation. So you mainly run in a javelin form. All you do is just gather the big groups of cows and kill them all at once. As you've seen, the damage is really good. We can really kill a lot of enemies at once. So the clear speed is really good. So yeah, that's about the cow run. You just got the idea of it.
Good day.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Don't have enough gold.
Good day.
Anyway, let's go over to Act 5. So this is on Hell, you can see. And everything dies so easily. Need to buff with CTA again. So the character is really strong. The Amazon is quite tanky with all the setups you can have. And the one that's wrong, simply because when you have this amount of life pool and the maximum amount of block, when you combine that with the damage reduction and all the passives from the evade, dodge and dash, she's actually really tanky. She can survive a lot. And let's talk a little bit about the damage. So the damage output might not seem really high. Combined it goes a little bit over 5.5k on the charge strike and a little bit over 3.5k on the lightning fury. But she can kill Diablo in just a second, to be honest with you. It's quite amazing actually. So let's try and do that. As I've already said, when you're using the bow, your crushing blow percentage goes down, but this doesn't mean you're not having it at all. So if you take a look at my damage, it might seem really low, but you need to take in consideration the amount of double damage, deadly strike, crushing blow, and all the extras and the damage from the Chains of Honor. So it actually hits pretty hard, even with the bow. Don't really pay attention to the damage numbers. They might seem low, but she can actually kill decently quick. And it's also quite funny to PvP and pretend you're a javelin, and normally your opponents are not expecting you to switch to some bow in the middle of a fight, and this can actually turn around some fights in your favor. And you can kill quite easily a lot of characters with the bow when you do PvP. So I really like switching between two of them. Normally, when people are doing the hybrid Amazon build, they are carrying the CTA in their Radric cube, and in their weapon they probably use a Wind Force or Faith run wards, because these provide higher damage output than the CTA in the bow I'm having. But I actually really enjoy the idea behind it, and I'm quite satisfied how it turns out. So as you can see, I'm not really having any issues killing enemies. You can do that quite easily, even with the low damage on my bow. So clearing tail monsters, the champions, minions and such, doesn't really matter. So light leech, mana leech. Oh, this one's use jab. This is also a quite helpful skill.
I am overburdened.
So these next monsters are all immune to lightning. So need to switch to the bow in this situation. And like to use brave. This current fight. So all of these are immune to lightning monsters. And yeah, we kill them with 1k damage. That's quite funny. Kill monsters with such low damage. But it's actually the crushing blow and the deadly strike and open wound that kills them. It's not the damage you're doing, it's more the bonuses you got. So As I said, every once in a while you'll have to go back to town just to replenish your stack of javelins,
Greetings.
because they might run low. It might take you like 15 seconds, but it's nothing special, really. And let's carry on with the details one. Just rebuffing. Wow. Don't wanna lose the CPU. I hate the rights when they destroying my mana or master computers in general. This character really depends on mana to be able to kill stuff. You can actually build a issue. Start burning your mana. Okay. We all- What was that? I like that. And let's unlock Diablo. And you're gonna see just in a moment how quickly Diablo dies. So you can consider for yourself if the damage is low or not.
Save you from me.
And there we go. That's it. Diablo's dead. I would really hope you like this character, guys. It's quite interesting and fun to play. Really enjoying it. Let's see this. Crap. I've been hoping for something better. Another crap. And 1 to strength. Awesome. So yeah, really hope you like that character, guys. Stay tuned. Drop some comments. I'll appreciate and read these. And yeah, that's about it. See you soon.